everyone, my name is Kimberly Gonzalez and I'm a dietetic intern at Nutrition Inc. And today I will be going over the power of fiber. So let's get into it. So where does fiber come from? Fiber comes from carbohydrates. We have our simple carbs and our complex carbs. Our simple carbs are quickly digested because they are already in the simplest form, whereas complex carbs take longer to digest because we need to break them down before we can absorb them. So here are some examples of simple carbs and complex carbs. So we can also look at carbohydrates based on their digestibility. So we have digestible carbs and indigestible carbs. And the indigestible carbs are the fiber component. So what are the types of fiber? There are many types of fiber, as you can see here, but the key thing to remember is that all fiber comes from plants. So fiber is typically categorized based on its solubility. So soluble fiber is typically well fermented and more viscous, meaning it's thicker, so it takes longer to travel through our digestive system. And insoluble fiber is poorly fermented and less viscous, meaning it's thinner and it quickly travels through our digestive system. So here's some examples of soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber includes foods like oats, chia seeds, and carrots. And insoluble fiber includes almonds, potatoes, cauliflower, and broccoli. And you can see here in the middle, there are beans and an apple, because these have both types of fiber. So I want to emphasize here that one fiber is not necessarily better than the other. They are both important to have in your diet. So here you can see how an apple has both types of fiber. On the inside, you see that it has soluble fiber, pectin. And on the outside, or the skin of the apple, it's insoluble fiber, made of cellulose or hemicellulose. So what does fiber do? Eating fiber can positively impact your health and reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease. Fiber can help decrease your blood sugar, your cholesterol, your blood pressure, and adiposity, as well as increase your stool bulk, increase your satisfaction with your meals, and it may also serve as a protector for your intestines and also promote the good bacteria in your gut. So how does fiber do it all? Before we can understand how fiber works, let's briefly review how absorption works. So we eat the food, it goes from our mouth to our esophagus, into our stomach, and then our intestine. And in our intestines, we have these finger-like protrusions that we call villi. You can kind of think of this as a shag rug or a carpet. And each of those villi have even more tiny villi called microvilli. And these are on the cells called enterocytes, which are all along the villi. So these enterocytes uptake the nutrients from the food that we eat and take it into our blood and our lymphatic system. Our blood is the one that carries the red blood cells, and our lymph is what carries the white blood cells. And from there, we move the nutrients from our blood and lymph to where it needs to go in our body to be absorbed. So now that we understand how absorption works, we can understand the two types of fiber better. So insoluble fiber is less viscous, meaning it's thinner, so it travels through our digestive system faster, and it essentially acts as a sponge and helps you laxate, or for lack of better words, it helps you poop. And this is beneficial to help you have regular bowel movements and to prevent you from being constipated. Okay, so soluble fiber is beneficial in two ways. It can reduce the reabsorption of bile acids meaning it reduces your cholesterol. So we want to recycle our cholesterol instead of reabsorb it. And it also reduces your post-meal glucose, reduces your insulin response. So insulin is made by the pancreas and is used to help your organs absorb the glucose so that they can use them for energy. So here we have an example of insulin allowing the glucose to go to the brain. That way the brain can use it for energy absorbed. So here an example of less insulin being used because glucose is being taken up by your enterocytes slower. So less insulin is needed to absorb the glucose. So in a fiber-free diet, you would typically have a faster transit time, meaning your food is going to flow through your digestive system faster, spiking your blood glucose, and increasing the reabsorption of bile acids to make more cholesterol. So in someone that eats a fiber-rich diet, specifically soluble fiber, they're going to have a slower transit time, meaning the food is moving through your digestive system slower. That way, glucose is being absorbed slower into the bloodstream, which helps prevent from spikes in blood sugar. And instead of making cholesterol, we are recycling the cholesterol we already have in our body and making bile acids from them. And those bile acids are used to aid digestion and absorption. And also the fiber helps bind to these bile acids so then we can excrete, which is something that we want because we want to avoid blocking our bloodstream and our blood flow, preventing risk of atherosclerosis and further cardiovascular disease. So remember when I said that fiber can help protect your intestines? This is where fiber fermentation comes into play. Your intestines. So the bacteria in your gut are called probiotics, and the food for the probiotics are called prebiotics, and this includes some fibers. So a study done in 2016 by Dietetic used mice to see how fiber changed their colon. And the results are very interesting. So let's zoom in on this picture. Okay, so the study found that the mice that ate a fiber-rich diet had a thicker mucus barrier, which helped protect these enterocytes from the pathogen. And the mice that ate a fiber-free diet had a much thinner mucus barrier, which didn't serve much protection against the pathogens. And remember when I said these enterocytes uptake the nutrients that we eat into our blood and lymphatic system and carry it to the rest of our bodies. But I do want you to keep in mind that this study was done on mice and not humans. So how much fiber should you be eating? Because most Americans do not eat enough fiber. According to the 2020-2025 dietary guidelines for Americans, we should be eating between 14 to 34 grams of fiber per day, depending on your age and your sex. So for female adults, the range is from ages 19 to 30 is 28 grams of fiber per day. And for men aged 19 to 30 is 34 grams of fiber per day. And you can find the full dietary guidelines on dietaryguidelines.gov for information on all the nutrients. So how can you add fiber to your plate? One thing at a time. I really want to emphasize here that you want to start small. It will be a lot easier to slowly add fiber into your diet, and it will be a lot easier for your gut to slowly handle more and more fiber. And I want to reiterate here that it's still important to include both types of fiber into your diet. So here are some of my suggestions. You can start with swapping your bread from white bread to whole wheat bread. Check how many grams of fiber are on that nutrition label. You might want to aim for 3 to 4 grams per slice if you can. And you can also look for breads that have seeds in them, because that will increase the fiber. You can also start by eating 1 apple this week, or even 1 vegetable this week, or 1 of each, even if it is frozen broccoli or frozen bananas in a smoothie. The key thing to remember here is that fiber is in all plants. So increasing how many plants you're eating, how many fruits and vegetables, seeds, etc., that is going to increase your fiber. So here's something I like to call volumizing your food. So, for example, here I had either ground turkey or ground beef, and I added corn, beans, and onions, and some sliced peppers. This not only increased the volume of the food, it helps my food go further, and it also increased the fiber. Other examples of this might include adding a banana or some berries to your cereal, or adding chopped spinach, kale, carrots, other vegetables to a soup that you've already started making. So here's some examples of foods that are higher in fiber. These include oats, quinoa, flaxseed, beans, popcorn, almonds, chia seeds, chickpeas, as well as pears, raspberries, cauliflower, broccoli, apples, bananas, Brussels sprouts, and leafy greens. And you can also get creative. Find sneaky ways to add. And maybe you can add chia seeds or flax seeds to the smoothie, or even start making a smoothie here and there to increase the fruit you're eating, which will ultimately increase the fiber that you're eating.
So now that you know the power of fiber, how are you going to utilize the power of knowledge to educate your friends and show them how they can eat more fiber? If you like this video and you'd like to see more, follow my page at yourplate.rdn on Instagram and let me know what you think. Thank you for watching, and here are my resources.